These corners are manned up, and they lead the league in interceptions, pass blocks. Like it's nuts, and they don't even have their best player back there. So, I just. It's going to be interesting for sure. But I do think if OSU, I can see Henderson having a big day out of that backfield.
Yeah.
So that being said, you said 93% manned up. Notre Dame hasn't played wide receivers like OSU. Like Ohio State has $20 million in talent, and Notre Dame's got Jesus. So
the Virgin Mary.
Touchdown. I just see touchdown Jesus in Catholic school. So
hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos and Scooter with me tonight. The gang is all here. We're back in action for the National Championship Week. Fellas, we are just a few short days away from crowning the champion of the college world. It's been a very long season. I know that both of you are probably the two happiest college fans right now today, with these two teams battling it out for the top position. So, but before we get into all of that, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all the love and the growth that we have seen over this college season. Continue to show us that love, though. We definitely appreciate it. But fellas, Notre Dame, Ohio State Buckeyes, you know, I have to just say this. This is awesome. I don't know what you guys did over the course of this college season, but this is karma at its finest, because the amount of crap that you guys have been talking about these two teams, especially the Notre Dame team, has been unreal. They don't belong here. They always choke, this and that and the other. Well, we're just a couple of days away from the Ohio State Buckeyes or the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking the crown as the national champions. This is awesome for me. I'm gonna enjoy this game on the mere fact knowing that you two are just gonna be hating it the entire time.
Yep. Well, Notre Dame decided to come out and play semi-decent football. Their defense was definitely the story made there. I think Penn State probably couldn't pass the ball to save their life. Drew Aller, I know, is coming back for the next season. I'm not sure why, because he's got a starting position, but he's getting the same results for Penn State probably next year. He lost a fumble, threw an interception, no touchdowns. His completion percentage was basically 50%. And I'm Riley Leonard threw 2 picks as well, but Notre Dame's running game was spectacular. The sacks, again, I think we talked about this last week. When you get pressure on the quarterback, you're most likely to win, right? You got Notre Dame that only let up 1 sack. Then you got Penn State, who let up 5 sacks and forced the pressure almost the whole game. Notre Dame's defense pressured Aller almost, I think, every time he dropped back. That's probably why he's only got a 50% completion percentage. On top of that, the last interception that Aller threw, he threw it with like an open body throw across the field. They were forcing bad decisions for Penn State, and I have to say kudos to Notre Dame. Sorry, almost threw up. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. Defense wins championships, and I think that's what we got, to include the Ohio State team, which we'll get to.
I'm just going to go out. I'm going to say this limb for Notre Dame fans, all 4 of you. You only got to where you're at because the scheduling, 1, the favoritism to get in. 2, you go against an Indiana team, garbage, only in there, I don't know for what reason why Indiana even made the playoffs. Then you run up against a Georgia team that couldn't be at its lowest point. They lose Beck. Stockton's not the guy that's going to take them, so they get Georgia at a low point. And then you get Penn State is another one. If anybody other than a Penn State fan can tell me a wide receiver's name on Penn State's team, I'll give you $100. They didn't even have a catch through 3 quarters. That couldn't have matched up perfectly for Notre Dame, who's one of the best, is the best defensive passing defense in college football. So I don't give them a lot of kudos because they're in the Eastern Conference of basketball in their division. I give it to Ohio State because they did run through Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. Notre Dame just happened to get lucky in their draw. That bracket was terrible from the beginning. It almost sets it up to whoever's in the higher bracket was going to win this. But needless to say, this will be it proves that the college playoff system doesn't work because we have Notre Dame versus Ohio State. It's like writing in a candidate for president. Who cares? They're not going to win. It's literally, I hate it. And as a Miami fan, these are your number 1 and 2 hated teams. Notre Dame, because they cheat, and Ohio State, because we got cheated out of 2 national championships. So there's my little rant there for a second.
Yeah, well, unlike the politician, Carlos, one of these 2 teams are going to win. And, I mean, it does come down to it. Say what you will about it, scheduling, strength of schedule, the road to this national championship. We can go on and on, especially with it being the first year of the college football playoffs. But I think both of these teams, the offense of Ohio State is very good. They're explosive. That Henderson kid from the backfield is unreal. I mean, how they shifted, it was like, oh, wait, hold on. Texas might have a little bit of momentum going. And then the Henderson guy ran off like a 70, 80-yard screen pass to end the half. And it just completely shifted the table back into their favor. And then, of course, that big play by, his name, Campbell, I think his last name is. That big play, that strip sack, for 83-yard touchdown run. Huh? Sawyer.
Like
Sorry.
The funny thing with that is he was Ewer's roommate when he was a freshman. Yeah.
That was a fun little backstory with them. But Ohio State, I mean, all in all, when you look at it, I think Ohio State is set up to just. I hope we don't get another TCU national championship because that's what I'm worried that we might get. But I do like the Notre Dame's defense, and I'm very excited to watch them go up against this Ohio State Buckeyes offense. But at the end of the day, I think the favor has to go to Ohio State just simply because they're almost poised to win this at this point.
Well, it's going to be interesting because you have Notre Dame as a blitzing defense. Al Golden, that's his thing, is they blitz because their corners are good enough to leave out on an island, and they don't even have their best corner got hurt weeks ago, but they have true freshman Leonard Moore, who actually graded out as right there with Travis Hunter. So it's going to be interesting to see if these corners, because he's not going to stop blitzing. That's what's got them to this point. They're going to make you, they're going to make you throw the ball. They have that much confidence in the back end. Plus, the front end of their defense is hurt. They've got their, 2 of their best players that are not going to be playing. So I'm just interested if Golden is going to lead that blitzing defense, and is he trust man-on-man with Jeremiah Smith, which could be not good. And then if the one way to beat a blitz is to sneak a back out and dump it off to him because there's nothing behind it. Because all you send 4 wide out straight just on a fly pattern, and then you dump this off. I mean, and you say like with Henderson, he's got enough speed to get 30 yards before they can even get to him. So it's going to be interesting to see if Golden adjusts to this, or does he just stay with it and see, roll the dice on these corners.
That's a good take. I honestly like that analysis because Ohio State did that against Texas. Texas had a fantastic defense, and they were getting after Will Howard, but they were doing these screen passes and the quick outs, and they were demolishing them, man. I understand Will Howard threw one interception, but the same token, the Ohio State defense got 4 sacks, 9 tackles behind the line of scrimmage as a whole. And Texas only got to Will Howard twice with 4 tackles for loss. So it's the Ohio State line has proven that they are good to go. And like you guys said, it's the explosive plays. And you analyze the whole quick outs and all the screen passes and stuff. What we saw with Ohio State and with a power kind of get after the quarterback field with Texas, when you saw with Ibuka and Henderson, is they can flare out. They can do the quick outs. They can do the quick wide receiver screens. You had Tate. Carnell Tate came in super clutch. Jeremiah Smith's definitely the big guy on getting big chunk plays. But you had Scott as the tight end coming in, getting these clutch 5-7 yard catches. Tate came in with these little sideline catches and across the middle on these deep posts. And Smith only had 1 catch for 3 yards, and they still won the game. Everyone was keying on number 4, and then 17, 32, number 2, 88, all tearing it up. And it was a strategic attack from Ohio State to take down Texas. It was a grind. Second half was like, okay, time to turn it on. And Texas couldn't get their jive going, man. The run game was stopped. Wide receivers were just not open, and Ewers was just chucking it, whatever. Notre Dame has to key on Ohio State from a holistic standpoint. You have a complete team with Ohio State. You have the deep ball, you have the quick outs, you have the swing pass, you have 2 running backs that can knock off an 80-yard run at any point in time. Will Howard, probably not dual threat by definition, but he can still move. As we saw, he had that 15-yard run. And Notre Dame's, I don't want to say one-dimensional because Riley Leonard did throw some passes and have some pretty clutch throws to that dual sport lacrosse player dude. But at the same token, their crutch, their not their crutch, but their go-to is the run game and play action, this read option. And it's not the first time Ohio State's seen it. They just saw it with Oregon. They just saw it with Texas. And they're going to eat it alive, dude. Defensively, I like this game. Offensively, it seems very one-sided to Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean Notre Dame, if they're going to have any sort of hope in this game as far as offensively, Jeremiah Love has got to have one of his best games of his whole collegiate career. I mean, that's just how it's going to be because, like you said, Riley Leonard, yeah, he did make some good throws. I just don't trust him. I really don't. And Carlos, to kind of piggyback off of what you said, I mean, look at the teams that they've played all year long. I mean, has Riley Leonard truly been challenged, from a defensive standpoint as far as someone of Ohio State, And so I think Jeremiah Love has got to get going early. I'm almost positive that is going to be the game plan going in, because to open up the play action, to open up the little, screen plays and stuff like that, try and bite Ohio State down. To defend the run, to try and open up any sort of passing game for Riley Leonard. But it's going to be hard. And my biggest concern, and here's the thing, I want Notre Dame to win. There's just something about this team. I want them to win. It would be nice to see, just a different team win it all. But my biggest concern for them is that I feel like this Ohio State team can get out to an early start. And once you get behind Ohio State, it's hard to keep up with them, especially if their offense is clicking on all cylinders. Will Howard is playing really good football in these playoffs, and they can come at you, even if you take away, Jeremiah Smith. They can come at you with the other weapons that they have on that offense. So it's going to be a defensive battle for sure. Hopefully we're in for a really good game. I just had this unsettling feeling that we might be in for another TCU Georgia national championship, which is not, I don't think, what anybody wants.
I don't think we do. There's one thing that OSU has that is a weak point, is they're kind of like, and I hate, you guys won't like this analogy, they're like the Bucks. The secondary is not good. The corners are not good, so it forces them to run a zone a lot. So it's going to be tough if those linebackers can't be disciplined, like you said, with play action. Riley Leonard, he's got two stats that really stuck out on me. One, if he's kept clean, he actually has over an 86% passer rating. But the other weird one is when you blitz him, he's able to get the quick throw out because he's over around the same percentage. The problem with him is if you just pressure him, if he feels a little bit of pressure, then he folds. He's not good under that point. But when Riley, I mean, OSU, it's something they can take advantage of. Notre Dame's got a good tight end. They've got some good receivers. They've got enough to do it. I don't think they can beat Ohio State down, with the deep passes, but it wouldn't surprise me if you see long drives from Notre Dame, some 5-yard outs, some little comebacks that are 8 yards, and then Love, like you said, they do need Love to have a good game because that guy was a big spark for them on the last game. He came in, he didn't get a lot of yards, but when he ran the ball, you could tell that team was different. And I just don't know if he's healthy enough if that knee is going to hold up for a full game, but they didn't need him for a full game. So it's going to be interesting to see if Wood's defense is going to say, okay, we're going to do what we're not comfortable with. And now we're Ohio State, we're going to blitz because we have to stop the run and we can't leave Leonard back there. But if you blitz, Leonard runs. This kid can run. So that's where like Georgia had issues with him is when they did blitz, he just ran. Even if they're 5 or 6 yards, after a while, you wear down a defense. If you have a mobile quarterback, you'll wear down your defense pretty fast. So I'm interested to see also. I actually think this game's going to be a little bit closer than it probably should. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what these defensive coordinators do. The offenses will just keep doing what they're doing. That's all they know. But these defensive guys are going to have to make some adjustments. It's going to be interesting to see which team can adjust. And I think Notre Dame is able to adjust. I can't imagine their corners not being good in the zone if they're that good in man press. Like they're number one in every statistical category. That team blitzes more than anybody in football. Their corners are manned up 93% of the time. These corners are manned up, and they lead the league in interceptions, pass blocks. Like it's nuts, and they don't even have their best player back there. So, it's going to be interesting for sure. But I do think if OSU, I can see Henderson having a big day out of that backfield.
Yeah.
So that being said, you said 93% manned up. Notre Dame hasn't played wide receivers like OSU. Like Ohio State has $20 million in talent, and Notre Dame's got Jesus. So
the Virgin Mary.
Touchdown. I just see touchdown Jesus in Catholic school. So, in all joking aside, do you think in the last talent base that they saw that it was probably similar to this was Georgia, and Georgia couldn't do it with a second string quarterback? So is Notre Dame secondary going to be able to lock down Ohio State?
They were able to do it against Indiana. That's the only reason I think is Indiana was so rated top 2-3 offenses, and they could sling the rock. That's the only thing I can think of. Georgia, they got off easy with that. Actually, Georgia and Penn State both. I have no idea where that Penn State quarterback. People were thinking this kid was going to declare for the draft. Maybe it was a draft. Maybe it was the WNBA draft or something. I don't know.
Well, he saw the FSU guy, DJ declare, and he was like, "Well, this guy can do it."
Well, that guy's he's been in the league for 6 years. Like he didn't have a choice. NLI money. They were brutal. Like, out of here. We're not giving you any more. But yeah, I don't know. But Georgia wasn't stocked up on wide receivers. And Penn State, like I said, nobody can name their best players. Somehow they convinced George Kittle to play tight end for them with the Walker kid, who was, man, he's a beast. But yeah.
So with all that being said, we're only a few short days away from January 20th, and at the end of the night, the champion will be crowned. Gentlemen, it's been an awesome season. I've loved talking college football with you. It always is kind of a bittersweet moment when we get to this part of the year. We appreciate all of you guys who've been rocking with us all year long. If you're new with us, hey, stick around. We'll be here this offseason where we got to talk transfer portal, which is probably going to be crazy, college draft, or the NFL draft, these college kids going into the draft. And then, before you know it, next season will be upon us. And the hopes of so many different fan bases will be alive once again. But, fellas, before we leave, who is your final pick? National champion 2025 college football is.
I'm going with
Notre Dame.
I'm Ohio State. As much as I hate it, I'm looking. I could see a 28-17 game, maybe even a 28-21. Yeah, definitely will be going to bed early when that game's on.
I'm going to say 28-24 Notre Dame.
Man. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I will say this, and I know I said this earlier. I want Notre Dame to win. It would be cool to see them win. I don't think they get it done. I have Ohio State beating Notre Dame 27-20 final score. So we'll go ahead and we'll end it there. But fellas, I appreciate you guys. I'm glad that we were able to get all the gang back together for this episode. We're back every single Thursday, 9 a.m. tentatively, where I'm starting to play around with some of the times to try and get into that algorithm that is just insane to try and figure out. But to help us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video with all of your family, friends, coworkers, and until next Thursday.
Beard Zone out.